Hi there, it's Ricky from Moshville Times here once again. Tonight we've got British extreme metal band Krysthla, who play metal of the death, thrash and groove end of the extreme metal market. But the good thing about Krysthla is that they know how to mould this into every song that they release. So tonight we're joined by vocalist Addy and guitarist Neil. So how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm fine, it's 80.
80, you see, it's just a Scottish accent, don't worry about it. But I was just wondering, like, whose bedroom are we in tonight?
Bedroom? Oh, we're in my studio today.
So that must mean that you guys are up to something.
Yeah, well, we are.
Yeah, kind of.
We're at the beginning of writing a new album.
Yeah. So how far on in the proceedings are you at just now?
Literally the first step.
But
the very first.
So I take it you've written loads of demos for the songs, yeah, for the next album.
No, literally starting the demos now.
Now, right, yeah. Okay. So that's cool. So it was in like August of 2019 you released your third album, Worldwide Negative. So you couldn't have picked a worse time to release an album. But looking back on it now, how do you feel about that album? And is there anything that you would have liked to have changed about it?
Oh, yeah. Well, you were right about it being the wrong time. It literally couldn't have been worse, unfortunately. But
well, to be fair, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. We had some really good shows off of the back of it. But it could have done with being 6 months beforehand, if you know what I mean. We'd be in a different cycle. We never really got a chance to properly tour the album, and which we're going to have to do sort of next year when we've got a couple of shows this year. But next year we'll tour that album, and as soon as we finish touring it, we'll be releasing another album. I'm guessing.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of more or less like a rough outline of where we'll be going with it.
Yeah.
From that point of view. As for the album itself, I thought it was a really good album. I was really pleased with it. I was anyway.
There's always things you want to improve and do differently, but we always seem to manage to hit a deadline. There's always a deadline for something. I'll be doing what it is I'm doing, just working on it, and we'll get an email from somebody and they'll say, oh, if you can get it out by this point, then you can do this, or this will happen, or whatever. And you're like, oh, and then all of a sudden I'm clock watching and you're like, God damn it, I just need another, even if it's like just another month of just nudging and tweaking and just letting things settle with fresh ears, etc. And then you're like totally happy.
Yeah.
But there's always a deadline that pops up, and I always have to kind of hand in my homework on the morning, so to speak. And it's always like, oh, come on. So this time, that's not going to happen.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask. With the recording of Worldwide Negative, will there be anything that you'll do differently with the next release then? You're just going to do it in your own time? There's not going to be any time scales? You're not going to let outside influences give you the deadlines that you're talking about? You're just going to take your time and make sure that the songs that you release are going to be the best that Krysthla have?
Well, we kind of put a deadline. Put a deadline on myself this time.
He kind of done it for himself, to be fair.
Yeah.
We've already put out when we're gonna release it. So
yeah.
So what Neil's just been complaining about, he's kind of stitched himself up.
But I've got plenty of time. It's when you don't think there's a deadline and you still want to do some things, and then all of a sudden there is one, and you're like, oh, what? But now I know there is one, I can write accordingly, and it'll be all right. So
yeah.
To be fair, he's already written the music for a couple of the songs, and they are sounding pretty banging, to be fair. So we're really happy with that.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
So is Neil the type of guy then that I'll send you like a riff at 4 o'clock in the morning saying, this is the best riff I've ever written in my life? Does he do that to you? No.
I think Neil will explain it better than I can, but he doesn't really write riffs. He imagines the whole thing when he's writing it.
Yeah.
And it would be better for you to explain it, really.
I don't know what you do.
Right. And Neil makes it up in his head.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything. From like the drums, the guitars, the bass, the vocals, everything. It's all kind of locked in. He hears things as a complete.
Yeah.
That's his explanation towards me.
Yeah.
He might be able to explain it better than me, but that's how he's explained it to me.
I can't sit down with the guitar and think, oh man, I'm gonna have a good day of writing some stuff today. I can't do it because you just end up coming up with stuff that you would normally kind of play, and you tread the same sort of ground and do things that you like to do.
Yeah.
So you end up writing very, very similar sounding things, but I'll have sometimes it could take days or weeks, and I won't write anything for ages, but then all of a sudden I'll just have a certain arrangement of notes that I've never played or would never normally play if I just pick the guitar up. But if I imagine stuff, your imagination goes off and it kind of writes itself in your mind, and then you have to chase it on the guitar and find it, and then you'll be like, oh God, what am I thinking there? But it's stuff you wouldn't normally do if you just pick the guitar up and started jamming. You just play your favorite sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I like to imagine things first, and just lay it down on a blank canvas in my mind as such, and then try and flesh it out in the real world, if you know what I mean. So that's how I sort of write, rather than just jamming on riffs, because you just end up doing the same thing. I think it's boring.
So is it too early to say, like, how would you compare the new songs to that of the previous albums then? Is there a change in the style or anything like that? Obviously there's going to be the Krysthla sound, but is there going to be added elements to it?
It's going to be there will be some added elements. It's still going to be very much us, obviously, but just with a massive shot of testosterone.
Basically Liam's been away and he's learned some new
fuck yeah, go on. Yeah.
Liam, our drummer's been away during the lockdown, and he's been brushing up on a few techniques, and they will become an extra part to what we're doing in terms of, in fact, brutality, probably, because he's learned to heel toe, and essentially that means we can go into all sorts of more nasty areas. But we'll probably temper that with some more melodic stuff as well. I mean, Neil, we like to improve every album in terms of our playing and what we do, as rather than sitting in a safe corner and doing the same album time and time again. We like to improve upon what we've done, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Do you think Liam's brought fresh impetus into the band, especially with his youth? He can maybe do things that previous drummers couldn't and things like that. Has he made you guys up your level a wee bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just because of his youth. It's Wayne was an incredibly technical drummer, and so is Liam. But Liam, he really loves his fills. He likes a lot more fills in it. So although they're both very, very good drummers, they're also different as well. But what we found when Liam came into the band is it fitted where we were with it anyway. But he's definitely made a difference to the band. And his enthusiasm is also very apparent. His attitude towards it's been amazing, really.
He really just wants to fucking play. We're quite happy to sit here with a cup of tea and just talk about some stuff, and he's literally tapping his foot. His sticks are ready to go, and you can see him just wanting to say, I want to fucking get on my storm, man, let's go. He really wants to play, and it's like, so we're going to do anything then? And we're all like, oh yeah, I'll finish my tea, hang on, and then we all get up and go and play. He's his youth and, like you said, his enthusiasm are right where they need to be, and he's just pushing us along nicely.
He's not here to blow smoke up his ass, but he's pretty decent, to be fair. He's a nice bloke to get on with as well.
Sometimes.
Yeah, he's all right.
Good stuff.
He's all right.
If I've got more than half a cup of tea, then absolutely not. I'm not moving.
So he's the impatient one as well. But Neil, I was wondering though, was there at any point in the last 18 months where you maybe lost your mojo a wee bit, like you didn't pick your guitar up for months and months, or were you always just...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, because I don't just sit down and write stuff. I don't have like a back catalogue of riffs. I know a lot of players do, but I can't do it that way. And when this is all going on, I literally put down the guitar, and you're right, I literally didn't play a note for ages. I did other stuff actually. I did some just sort of some covers, but nothing heavy. It was just like singing things and stuff, and I wasn't inspired to pick up a guitar or write about anything. I didn't want to do any isolation based stuff. I was just like, everybody was out there doing something, whether it was like covers, and it's just trying to stay busy and relevant, and I literally didn't want to do any of that. I couldn't have been further away from wanting to join in with that sort of stuff. I was like, nah, literally not interested.
I think it's fair to say that during the lockdown, we've all had quite a lot of life-changing experiences as well. So normal life took over. So it was perhaps it wasn't ideal that it happened, but it was ideal, if you see what I mean. We had other things to do in our lives that and so those things took precedence. But there was always a point at which we wanted to get back together, and as soon as we came back into jam, within like a couple of jams, we were locked back in, and the feeling returned. And so
we had months off, didn't we?
We obviously we couldn't be in the same room or anything, and there was no way that we could have done the live things that some other people did. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure that it would have been of any decent quality for us. We'd rather do something proper. We did some live recordings of some songs that were audio, and we managed to put a video to one of those, and that was about the only thing we really did, wasn't it? So we just we reconvened, and that's when it started again, to be fair.
I saw a couple of things that 0161 the Manchester Underground community done, and they were good. I saw Ingested, obviously you saw Behemoth as well, but that was like thousands and thousands of pounds, which a lot of bands don't have. And it's a question that I ask, like, did you think of doing a virtual gig? But a lot of the time they're saying, nah, it's not us. It wouldn't be the real thing. We don't have the technical knowledge to do it ourselves, blah, blah, blah. So, but thankfully the world's opened up a wee bit. I mean, that was myself at a couple of gigs in the last 2 weeks. I saw Fetal Juice on Saturday there up here in Glasgow with Scordatura. But yeah, so it's I'm glad the world you don't have to think about a virtual gig anymore. You can get back out there and do it.
I mean, this is the reason why we really didn't do anything, because for us a live gig's something that you get feedback from an audience from, and it's kind of it whips itself up. And if you're just essentially playing to a screen, even though you know that people are watching it on the other end, you're not getting that feedback from them. And so we feel that perhaps the best, I mean, we didn't even really want to do the limited because there were some gigs that went ahead that had limited amounts of people in, and we didn't even, and they were sitting at tables, and we didn't really want to do that either. Our music's almost like body contact. Do you know what I mean? It's a body contact sport, if you know what I mean.
So with yourself being the vocalist then, and not playing a gig for like 18 months, and how did you keep your vocals in check? I'm just wondering what your neighbours think about you when you were like practicing in the shower or singing in the car or something, you know?
I honestly don't do any of that until I come in here. I just don't. When we are practicing, we practice twice a week, and that's enough to keep my voice in some sort of nick. I might have a scream in the car, but that'll be like early in the morning. Well, not too early in the morning, to be fair. But yeah, I don't really do it. I wander around singing, but it's not like that. It's just like, you know, what everybody else does, I guess. But I save it for all for in here. I come in, I'm supposed to do my warm-up exercise before I do it, but I never do unless we're playing a gig, to be fair. But I've been doing it that many years. My voice is kind of like knocked into some sort of shape anyway.
You
know, it's kind of it's more or less there on call. It's handy.
At the minute, his voice at the minute is literally on fire. Yeah, and we've just come out of a lockdown and all this sort of thing, and you know, just getting straight back into rehearsals. Like eventually, after all this sort of time, I think it took maybe a week and a half.
Yeah,
and he was back up to 10 again. It was just like, Christ, it's just like long, and it's the same again. Just like it never went away.
Well, I mean, like,
so it's probably better at the minute. To be fair,
yeah, without trying to blow my own trumpet, my voice seems to be getting better with age rather than the other way around. You hear some people sort of like lose a bit, but for me it just seems to only ever improve. I think that's due to the way that we push ourselves as a band. So I've had to over the course of our band, I've packed up smoking, I've taken up physical exercise, and I've done different things to improve my breathing and things like that. So because we've pushed each other, it's also helped my voice, if you know what I mean.
Stop taking smack as well.
Yeah, smack. Smack's not great.
That's good to hear. You feel the benefit of it now. That's good to hear. But you were saying like the 1.5, 2 weeks that you have like been rehearsing and stuff like that. Who was making the most mistakes then?
My voice is great. My memory's rubbish. No, it was me.
No,
Everybody else is
Random words floating around. Wasn't it?
it must have been good being back in the studio again, though, like saying, meeting up with the guys and go, who are you again? What is it you play? But no, it must be great to be back together again as a band and doing band
just getting back into the studio and being able to play again was like a massive release, because for me personally, and I think for everybody else in the band as well, it's kind of like a cathartic thing. This helps us to deal with life as just by getting our frustrations out with it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So being able to get in the room and let fly at full volume was cathartic as much as anything else. So it was kind of like a healing thing all of its own, if you see what I mean.
Big smiles. The first bit of noise comes in, it's big grins all round. So
that's great to hear. That's great to hear. But with the last 18 months then, has it made you look at the more business side of the band, like just keeping the name of Krysthla out there and looking at merch and looking at, I don't know, lyric videos and things like that? Has it made you do things that you didn't normally do yourselves?
No, not really.
I did ask a closed question.
Yeah, we kind of, I don't know. I was very aware of lots of bands doing anything they could to stay relevant and out there online and on social media. And my Facebook feed and my Instagram feed was fucking rammed with people doing anything.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be part of that. That's what I mean. It's kind of, you're just going to get swept up with a thing, and it's a lot of effort to do stuff. And although obviously we enjoy putting out content, whatever it is, whether it's an album or a video or whatever, but like we said earlier on, we want it to be the best that it can possibly be. And just to do something for the sake of staying active, I'd rather not bother personally.
Yeah, we kind of decided we were going to keep our powder dry.
Yeah, we'd like to be more enigmatic than just jump in there and put something else out. So we'll just go radio silence and just be in the background, let everybody else make a lot of noise. That's great. You know, I enjoyed watching some of it. Some of it was fucking terrible. But yeah, we just stayed kind of on the back burner and just let everybody else go and do their thing. So, but when we do come out and we do release something, it's going to be meltdown for everybody else because everyone else is going to die. So
this is it. Our job is to write albums and go out and play live. And we couldn't do that within lockdown, so we didn't.
Yeah,
we didn't really think it would do our case an awful lot of good. I don't mind. I don't mind the fact that we had a bit of radio silence, because it's a bit like a mellow section before it gets heavy again in a song. We'll come back and we'll be as loud and as brutal, or even louder and brutal than we ever were before. So,
have you had the discussion of releasing like an EP rather than an album? Or has it always been album?
We have had that discussion, because I think like there's but I don't think the problem with doing an EP is it doesn't have the kudos of an album. So from a media point of view, you don't get the same amount of traction.
Yes.
So even though it might be practically probably a better move, we don't think it is. And plus, I think it's, with an album, it's a body of work, and we still work around that, as opposed to like a short statement. It's a body of work. It's a time encapsulation of where we are at that point in time. So I think from that point of view, we're always going to be doing albums.
Yeah. Cool. It's exactly as you say, and I couldn't agree with you more. As a reviewer as well, you sometimes get an EP and it's absolutely brilliant, and you're like, oh, 4 songs, that's it done. Whereas with an album, you've got like a beginning, a middle, and an end. You've got a story. Just sometimes it could be frustrating when you've got like a 3 or a 4 song EP. But at the same time, you don't do anything for like 18 months, and then it's like an album. It's a discussion that I've had with a number of bands. Some bands are just going to release a single every 2 months and just keep doing it that way. But and there's bands like yourselves, Ramage Inc., for example, as well, just doing album. Dog Tired, album. So it's, you don't know which way is the best.
I mean, like, we as a bunch of people are album people. We don't listen. I mean, I certainly don't do like Spotify playlists or anything like that.
Yeah.
I listen to an album in its entirety, and it's, you know, the start, the middle, and like the end, as you're saying. And I judge albums on their content as opposed to on a specific song.
Yeah.
So I don't see any reason why we would do anything different when we're doing our own stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, cool. Totally agree.
Album people.
Yeah. But Neil, you were talking about, like, you vision a lot of the songs, but how are the songs constructed in the studio then? I mean, are you pretty much the main songwriter to the songs, or is Krysthla a band where all members contribute to the songs?
No, it's pretty much a brutal dictatorship, pretty much.
Yeah, we do as that. We've done.
No, I'll demo everything and sort of get things in a, when I'm happy with like the arrangement and stuff, and when I'm sort of happy with it, I'll send everybody something, or like just email it, or give people a CD or whatever. And everybody just learns it. We tab it all out, you know, after rehearsals some nights and things like that, so everyone knows their parts. And then studio wise, when it comes to recording them and things like that, because we've got the demo tracks, I just get rid of the drums, and then Liam comes in and puts the real drums onto the demo songs, which he's now very familiar with. And then I'll just redo all the guitars and everything over the top, and then Adi comes in and puts the cherry on top when everything else is in.
The rock,
basically.
So what about when negotiating what stays in and what goes out of a song? I mean, do you go in a huff when the guy's saying, no, that doesn't work, or I think you should change that big huge segment here, or are you welcome to opinions?
We all have a discussion, and we say what we want, and then Neil tells us what's right. I mean, Neil pretty much does write everything, but we all have input as to what we think is right, especially with track listings and things like that. But yeah, I mean, Neil's got a vision of what he wants to do, and we're all friends. We've known each other for a very long time, so we're kind of signed up to put his stuff into motion, and we're happy with that, to be fair.
Hopefully I'm like a nicer Dave Mustaine.
What do you mean? It works for us, to be fair.
Yeah. Do you find that's a lot of pressure on yourself, Neil?
Yeah, I love it though. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't get anything done.
I think that's going to be dig there.
It's not the case, mate. When the old time's ticking towards the schedule, he does get a bit stressed out.
Other people's deadlines. That's what it is. If somebody else puts the deadline on me, I'm like, fuck.
He doesn't get all angry though. You get all like,
I don't sleep. I'll be here. I mean, towards the end of the Worldwide Negative thing, because we had to really rush that out before Bloodstock, because that all had to coincide together to get everything so we could like play the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, that shaved. Christ, it was almost a month and a half, I think, off the time I'd allotted myself that I wanted to get it done. I was like, great. That's just cost me like 40 odd days of noodling around and getting it how I wanted it. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah, for the last 3 days before, because obviously when you're doing that, not only do you have to mix it and master it, you have to do your track listings, put it all in order, do the master CD, put your ISRC codes on for duplication. So you've got all like your PRS codes and stuff like that will have to be embedded in the CD as well. So you've got all this stuff to do and think about.
Yeah.
I think for the last 3 days running up to the deadline, I didn't sleep for 3 days.
He also designs the covers for the albums as well.
Yeah, I'll do that work.
So it's like, we just go, have you done it all?
Have you done it all? You got a deadline, mate. Have you?
I'm just wondering how
you've got to get that done by so and so, don't you?
I'm just wondering how you've got any hair left. I'm just wondering how you've got any hair left, and your hair's no my colour. But
I know, I haven't got a grey hair on my head. It's all in my beard. I've got a grey streak in my beard. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I'm quite disappointed in your answer there, because I was kind of expecting like blood on the walls and like fisticuffs in the studio and stuff like that. But you appear to be like a tight unit, which is good to hear.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. The thing is, we've been in bands and doing this sort of thing for such a long time.
Yeah,
that you find. I mean, like I've known Neil. We've known each other over 30 years.
We've been playing music together since 1995, 4 or 5.
Yeah, 94, 95, something like that. Coming up for 30 years anyway. And over that time, it's I don't know. It's not even like we have to think about things anymore. They just kind of happen.
Yeah.
And I kind of know what Neil knows what I'm going to be like, and I know what Neil's going to be like. And I mean, I'm not going to say there isn't any ego in the band, because I don't think you get up on stage if you didn't have an ego. But there isn't in between the band. If you see what I mean.
With each other.
We just kind of we're who we are, and that's that. There's no competition or anything. It's a case of the music is the only thing that we're interested in, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. And yourself, Eddie, with you being the vocalist of the band there, do you take care of all the lyrics, or do you welcome contributions from the other band members as well?
Neil writes it all. Neil writes all of the lyrics as well. He basically writes the lyrics, and I get a written version over a demo, and we sit down and discuss what it is he's writing about. And in most cases, it's stuff that I understand anyway. But I get the idea from what he's trying to. He explains it to me, and he tells me where he wants me to go, and sort of like the reasons behind everything. And then I interpret what he's told me and his lyrics. I did write lyrics. I've written lyrics for mostly everything else I've been in with the band. But the sort of music that we're playing, Neil's got ideas for the vocals where they weave in and out. If I tried to write along to those sorts of ideas, I would mess up his vision pretty much. Yeah, I'd be like a bumbling fool over the top of it. Pretty much. I'm not going to lie. But Neil's lyrics are pretty spot on. I have a lot of what Neil's got to say, I agree with in any case. I mean, we have a lot of discussions in the band about all sorts of things. We've got a lot of time together when we're out touring and stuff like that. And so a lot of what we talk about and what we've witnessed as well, through, I mean, like, for instance, the song Oceans, Eternal Oceans, was a shared experience that we had when we were touring, and that led to those lyrics. And it was all to do with the discussions after seeing a refugee camp outside of Macedonia. The Afghans were coming across, and it hit us, didn't it? Because there was little kids running around, and they're no longer just something on a television screen. They're a human being, and it makes it very, very obvious that what's going on and what they've had to go through to even get to that point, if you know what I mean. And it was upsetting for us. And Neil articulated that within Eternal Oceans, and it's things like that I'm not sure where I'm going with this completely, but lyrically his stuff is spot on, and I totally condone it and endorse it in any case. So
absolutely, wow. So I mean, from the very first chord to the artwork to the production to the lyrics, Neil, you're a very, very busy. Do you sleep?
Sometimes, yeah. I don't get a lot of sleep anyway. Although to be fair, since I've been back to the gym, I've been sleeping more. But yeah, if I'm just like totally switched on my music and that's all I'm doing, it's very easy for your brain to get super hyperactive. Yeah, because you're overstimulated looking at things and listening, and because you want it to be so good, the will to stay awake and keep going outweighs the will to sleep. So you end up with shorter and shorter nights when you actually do go to bed, and then it's just very easy to find yourself like still mixing or editing or just laying something down, and you'll be like, oh, it's 7:15 in the morning, and you just because there's no windows in the studio either, so you can't tell what time of day it is. And all of a sudden you've been there for like 50 hours and you've not stopped, but you're still fine. You're still wide awake because you're so hyper switched on, because it's doing something that you love and something that you care about and a lot passionate about.
To be fair, when he's not doing our stuff, he's doing everybody else's. He honestly, like, he eats, sleeps, and lives music, and has done from the moment I met him. He's absolutely 100%. You're just music boy, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
You are. He just is.
Could have had a real career with some money and a job and a house, but no.
Yeah.
It's all music, mate.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll be living under a bridge, but I'll have the sickest riff collection.
So
because most of the bands that are from around here come here to record as well. So Neil's always busy with music.
Yeah. So talking about bands coming to record there, we're going to talk about where you are just now. So how long have you been there? Tell us a wee bit about the studio.
Oh God. Well, I've had various locations. It's obviously to start with, I started everything at home.
Yeah.
Where my old house where I used to live, and then I moved to when it's sort of, like, say, getting a bit busier. I went to Big Noise, which is a studio in Northampton, and rented a bit there and did that for a year or so. And then after leaving there, I came to our rehearsal space, and there's one particular part of the building that was just always full of junk and stuff. And it wasn't until I sort of like looked in here one day, I was just like, if this junk wasn't in here, we could have an in-house studio where we rehearse and would be fully self-sufficient. So why don't we do this, guys? And they were like, yeah, it's actually not a bad idea, is it? So we just got rid of all the junk and made this extra like control room that's literally just off our live room. And yeah, been here ever since. So how long have we been doing it here?
Oh, I don't know. I'd say it's the best part of. Well, we recorded the first album here, didn't we?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was in
2015. That came out.
Yeah.
So 2014, maybe.
It was almost kind of 6 years, I think.
Cool.
That was upstairs.
Cool.
Yeah.
But
It's been a while.
Yeah, you've got Initiate Audio and Media, which is obviously the brainchild of yourself, Neil. Was it something that you'd always wanted to do as well? Was it a side of the business that had always interested you? And does it bring a whole lot of different stresses to yourself as well?
I remember when we were in a band way back called Violation in the 90s.
Yeah.
You had a hernia, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh Christ, yeah.
This is where his recording career started. Yeah. He had a hernia and he borrowed our other guitarist 4-track and started recording stuff on a 4-track. And that's back in the 90s. And it's come from there, hasn't it?
That was in, it was not yeah, it was, wasn't it? Christ. What year did I have that? What year did that happen?
I reckon that would be around about 96, 97, something like that.
Christ, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know when he started doing it because he got laid up at work, didn't he? Yeah. And he had nothing else to do, so he just got himself a 4-track.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started.
Wrote a bunch of stuff. I actually found the 4-track tapes the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, they're in a bag around there now. I have to get that thing off Lee, get the 4-track off Lee and put it into the thing.
That would be awesome.
Remix it. But yeah, I've always wanted to do it. Ever since, I can't remember which album it was now. I think it was probably Arise by Sepultura.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I'd never heard anybody play the end section of Desperate Cry when it goes all on the toms. And I remember thinking I'd never heard anything that was so busy on the toms and on the drums. And it was just like, what the fuck is that? And it sounded so impressive. And I remember thinking, how come his drums sound better than everybody else's on a section like that? I was just like, and it really intrigued me. And then when I borrowed the 4-track thing, obviously I just got like a little digital keyboard thing with like some random loops on it. But then when you start layering it and putting it all together, you think, well, yeah, you get good at it after a few weeks. And then you think, well, I could do this. And then as time went on, I ended up with a laptop and blah, blah, blah. And it just sort of spiraled from there, really. But yeah, it's a lot of extra stress when you're writing with the band. That's your main band, obviously. And you've got other people's work to do because it's really hard to switch off from what you're doing. Yeah. To then mix somebody else's stuff. It's totally different sounds, totally different vibe, and you have to change gear so rapidly sometimes it can spin you out for a couple of days. So you just have to literally listen to no music, just watch some films, and just clear your palate, so to speak, before you start working on anybody else's stuff. Otherwise, somebody's rock track could end up sounding like a grindcore band because you're still in grindcore mode. So you have to make sure you don't overlap stuff. So, but yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do. And now I'm doing it. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Literally couldn't imagine doing anything else. I'd hate doing anything else, to be honest.
I was going to say that. It sounds as if you want to do it for as long as you can do it.
Yeah.
And you've just built your own empire behind you and all the gadgets and all the fancy bits and pieces you've accumulated over time.
Music obsessed.
Yeah.
Genuinely, you know.
Yeah.
So
when we finish rehearsal, and we'll come out and have a quick chat, and everybody filters out. And as soon as everyone's gone, I'll just turn around and jump back on there and start mixing and doing stuff. So it never stops, unfortunately. It's awesome, but at the same time, it's not.
wow, absolutely wow. I'm just amazed that it sounds as if you get like an hour's sleep a day. But yeah, so so there'll of course be live shows in the near future. We're going to talk about a major festival that you're going to be playing in a couple of weeks' time. But do you have other gigs after this festival in October?
We've got 2 more this year.
Yeah, you got 2 more than that.
What we decided to do, we decided that we would use these 3 gigs to see what was going to happen, because we're still not sure what will happen with COVID yet. I mean, there's a good possibility that the hospitals might become overrun later on in the year, and then these gigs will be cancelled. So we didn't want to book a whole load.
Yeah.
So we've got the major festival that you're talking about, and we've got 1 more in Nottingham and 1 in our hometown of Northampton in December. Both of those are in December. Cool. And then our plan is to start booking for sort of April, May, June, July, August next year, when it's not cold and, you know, the chances are that things won't be in lockdown. Yeah. So that's our plan. It's obviously subject to change. Nothing's certain at the moment, so we're just playing it by ear at the moment.
So did you have plans for like playing Europe before COVID hit and stuff like that, and that's what going to be your plan for next year?
We've always got plans for playing Europe. Whether they actually come true or not is a different matter. I think Brexit had kind of has had a big impact on that as well.
Yeah,
we want to try and just, for now anyway, is consolidate and sort out this country and get ourselves. We feel after COVID things are kind of like a level playing field again, so we've got to go out and prove ourselves all over again.
Yeah,
you know, there's so many good bands out there that the only real way you can do it is to just get back out there and then you know, go for it, and that is what we will do. We're not really planning anything except to make extreme noise.
That's certainly music to my ears, because I love my death metal, you know. So but also things like Bloodstock, for example, a couple of months ago, what it highlighted was the strength of the UK metal scene. When you couldn't get the foreign acts to come over and play, the amount of talent that the UK has that people didn't even know existed. I mean, I was talking to Ash and Crown the other day, and they were playing to like a full tent and massive pits. Tortured Demon from Manchester as well, teenagers. They literally destroyed the Sophie stage, you know. So it's just, there is a hell of a lot of talent in there. And a couple of gigs that I've been at myself, it was brilliant to see the places packed. Sometimes Glasgow, you can be 30, 50 people, but the places were rammed. So I think everybody's just down to go to gigs again.
Oh, I mean, like you were on about Bloodstock. I mean, I can't even count the amount of bands that we've played with that played on the festival last year, and it was really good to see. I mean, everybody from sort of like Ash and Crown, Bloodyard, King Witch, Ramage Inc., Ash and Crown, Red Method, Divine Chaos. All of these bands are all bands that we've played with, and what I love about it is, when you see them on a big stage, they absolutely feel that stage. You know it. But you've seen them in a club, but they can go out there and they can do, you know, they can stand their ground with, you know, Devon Townsend or some of the other acts like Skindred that were playing. They can stand their ground. And then they'll go back to playing in the pubs and clubs again the next week. It's
how it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's how it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully, people will realise that after seeing those bands, and we'll then go out and see them in the pubs and clubs.
Yes,
because that's our bread and butter, really.
Exactly. But we're now going to talk about a festival that you guys have been lucky enough to play before. So you must see how much it's grown in the last couple of years. So we're obviously talking about Badgerfest. So you guys must be excited playing that again, especially as Saturday night headliners.
Yeah, it's all right. Isn't it?
Sounds
Well, we
good.
did the first one. We headlined the first one.
That's right.
Yeah, and it was really good. It's one of those things. Obviously, it was a brand new festival, so you sort of turn up and you don't know what to expect. Obviously, you do know what to expect to a degree, but you know, you always hope that it's going to be a good one. And it was a really good one, got really well organised. John Badger's an absolute diamond of a fella.
That's the words, John Badger.
Yeah,
that boy is an absolute PR genius. To be fair.
He's a good lad. He's a good lad.
The first one we did, it was his idea to do it, and it ran like clockwork. And these things never do. And he done so much PR for it, and that it just had the right feel about it. And he's done the same with every single gig he's put on, regardless of whether it's Badgerfest or any of the other things that he's done over. He's a brilliant promoter, and we're really pleased to be playing the Saturday night. It's an honour, to be fair, to be headlining the Saturday night when the Friday night's been headlined by Fetal Juice and the Sunday night's being headlined by Raging Speedhorn. Yeah, you understand, and like all the bands that are on there, it's like a who's who of the British scene. Really, it's a fantastic
top liner.
Yeah, top liner.
It's quite funny as well. If you ever need to find John Badger, you'll just find him behind the drum kit, because I think he's playing for like half the bands in the bill.
He's in loads at the minute, isn't he?
yeah.
He's a kind of a phenomenon of a
phenom.
Yeah, a phenom.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
In himself, he's a bit like Neil, in as much as he's always doing something, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I can't speak highly enough of John Badger. He's a top chap as well.
Cool. I'll also be down there for the full weekend. Moshville Times will be there. We also, I don't know if you've seen it, we started like 3 months ago, Moshville Radio as well, which we've played your good selves. We've done like a good number of like Badgerfest specials at the moment, so you guys are getting a lot of airplay at the moment as well. So we're going to be there again, and we'll certainly, this isn't going to be the last time we will interview you. I can guarantee you it'll be a wee bit shorter. But also, like, I wasn't part of the negotiations, but apparently our stall is going to be in the bar. So I didn't take any part in the negotiations. So if you want an interview, I would say come in the afternoon, don't come at night. But yeah, extremely looking forward to it. Extremely looking forward to it. But is there any bands in the bill that you're looking for? Are you guys going for the weekend yourselves?
Unfortunately, we can't due to work commitments and things. We're going to be going up on the day. And we're gonna, because we're quite far away from Manchester, we probably won't get there until 6 or 7 o'clock. It's a shame, because there are some bands that I would really love to see. I love Kingwitch. I think they're fantastic band.
Yeah. There's a good Scottish contingent coming down. Kingwitch, Ramage Inc., Iron Altar, God Eater. I love saying a band's name. I love saying God Eater. What a brilliant name for a band.
They're all brilliant bands. I mean, as you'll know, we go up to Scotland quite often.
Yeah.
And we've played with all of those bands, and they're all awesome. And God Eater and Angel, King Witch, we saw on the same bill at the Beat Generator.
Yes.
And they were the best 2 bands that we saw that day. Ramage Inc. we are friends with, and we've played with in different places at different times, and they are a fantastic band. Scott and Dog Tired as well. You know, there's some fantastic bands in Scotland.
Dog Tired are playing this Friday, actually, my birthday, but I've got the wee man. He's only 7, so I can't take him to the gig. It'll be a wee bit too rough for him.
Nah, that's all right, don't worry about that.
But there is a good Scottish contingent, so hopefully do us all proud. But certainly looking forward to seeing you guys down there, especially in the Saturday night headliner. But hey, absolutely brilliant. But listen, I'm going to ask you a question. We're coming near to the end of the interview now, so because you guys are a wee bit similar age to myself, but before the internet, magazines and fanzines were the place. Hey, again. Magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications are being replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that some of the passion's been lost, or do you think that the internet's been a good thing for music and a good thing for Krysthla?
it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? I'm not quite sure how to answer it, but it is a double-edged sword. You have all the power to reach all of the people all over, everywhere, all over the world, but so has everybody else.
Yeah.
So you're just one voice in millions.
Yes.
And to be able to stand out is quite difficult.
Yes.
It's just totally saturated, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's
Totally
the thing.
saturated.
The word saturation is the point.
Saturation.
It's saturation. Yeah. And the other thing is as well, I think people are less likely to go out to see gigs. They don't go out to see gigs like they used to.
Yeah.
They'll sit and watch things online.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get people, and they'll go to the big gigs like the Bloodstocks, and they're still passionate about live music, but getting them to come out, I think it's also got to do with the prices of things as well. You know, beer and everything's gone up and all those things. It's a difficult landscape for bands in a lot of ways, but you can reach an awful lot of people across the world. That's the best thing about it.
Yeah.
I could reach somebody in Hawaii if I wanted to, at the press of a button, and that's fantastic.
So that must be one of the things for Krysthla as well. You've got fans in the Philippines or something like that, in Australia or Mexico or something like that. You never thought in your wildest dreams that you would be able to reach these people.
No.
Yeah, I mean
that would only be done by tape trading. If you were lucky enough
we used to get the odd one or two, like, you know, always in violation. I got I got a letter from some Japanese people that wanted our tape, which was quite extraordinary back in the day. But I mean, it is fair to say that we have fans all around the world. We did quite a lot of stuff out in Eastern Europe, and we've got a lot of people that are on our Facebook page from there that we've actually played to and been, and I think still the best way to push your name is live. You know, people will have a short attention span online.
Yes, totally.
If you go and play live and you excite them and you get their blood running, they'll remember that for a lot longer than, say, a video that you put up. You don't always get, like, we sometimes get more. This is not just us, it's a lot of other bands as well. We'll get more interaction from a photo of us than we will do from a song we put up. And it's not just us. There's a lot of other bands. It's very strange.
Social media and Facebook and things like it annoys me, to be honest, because as great a tool as it is and as convenient as it is, I think a lot of people lean on that as their primary outlet. And it shouldn't be. That should be the thing that you kind of go, oh, we've got some gigs, check this thing out. But it should be you going out and playing and smashing everybody. That's what it should be about. And the Facebook thing should literally be a little bit of a dusting on the top, just to say, here's our gig dates, here's a little clip of our new video, blah, blah, blah. And then you go away again. But it's that, I think a lot of people spend more time working on that and trying to build a social profile than they do perfecting their craft and becoming a really good live band. So you can have 20,000 followers and be shit on stage. I was pointing that, and I'll see a lot of that, and it's kind of like, I prefer to do it the other way. We
are quite old school in that respect. Live music, connecting with people in an audience from a band point of view is the very best way to sell your music. It still is. If you can get people losing their shit at your gig, then you're doing the right thing. That's still the best way forward for us.
You've got to get in their face and shove a fucking CD in their hand and go, there you go.
I want to see the whites of their eyes, essentially.
Yeah.
That's it. It's still a human contact sport. It really is. You know?
Thanks for that, guys. There was a lot of valid points raised. I mean, like you say, way back, you would send a £1 note or £2 or whatever like that in an envelope, and you send it to a band. A couple of days later, you'll get a demo tape through the door. You'll get a letter from the band. You'll get a couple of stickers, and you'll listen to it and you go, don't know if I like it. But because you've invested in it, you would listen to it again and again, and then make up your mind and give your band a fair chance. Whereas now, as you say, you can go on Spotify, click 5-10 seconds. No, I don't like it. Instantly just look it.
And it's art at the end of the day. You wouldn't just have a look at a picture online and go, well, I won't bother going to the gallery.
Essentially,
that's exactly what you're doing.
You know. I mean, I grew up in an age where CDs should be burned, it was all tapes and vinyl, I'm glad to see that they're making a comeback, but hey ho, I prefer the physical product rather than
that's what we'd love. We'd love to get some vinyl out with what we're doing. We're going to look into that. We're going to look into that for the next release, hopefully.
Good.
I mean, like, we're coming up to our 10-year anniversary as well, so we're thinking of ways of trying to
make it
to sort of celebrate it, really.
Yeah,
I'd love to do a vinyl collection of all 4 albums for the 10-year anniversary. That would be mega.
Yeah, well, we can afford to do it, and that's a different matter. But
you'll probably have to plan it just now, because I'm hearing all over the place that there's a huge backlog with vinyl. So you have to plan it now. But listen, this is probably where I normally add on another 40 minutes, because I now get you guys to talk about the instruments that you play. So Neil, we'll start off with you. Like, what are you going to be using for the next album then? What's your guitar of choice and what's your pedals?
My guitar of choice is a Jackson Kelly. She's my baby. I've always played like ESP Explorers for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Just James Hetfield, basically. But I've always loved. Sorry?
What brought the change?
Well, we were using the ESPs, and where did we play? It was the Black Heart in London, and a guy was in the audience, a guy called Mr. Sam Kelly Wallace. Hello, Sam, if you were listening at some point.
All right, Sam.
And he was in the audience, and he used to work for Jackson and Fender and EVH and stuff like that. And we just got chatting, and he was like, "You guys ever thought about using Jacksons?" And we were like, "No, I like them." But we our old band Gutworm years ago, we had ESP endorsements, so we used to get those.
Yeah.
So we just had a collection of ESPs laying around, so just carry on using them. But after chatting with Sam and then going down to the Jackson head offices and having a little play and all that sort of stuff, I just saw the Kelly in the catalogue, and I was like, "Oh, Mate Friedman, Megadeth here." I was just, "Oh, come on." And he was like, "Yeah, I can get you one of them." So yeah, as soon as he got me that, I was sold, and that was it. All the other guitars went in the fucking bin, and I've just played the Kelly ever since. I love it.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I played the Jackson Kelly. I'm going to show you actually.
Why not? I knew you. I saw you looking at it half a dozen times. I knew you was going to do that.
Yeah, I couldn't not.
Oh, that's lovely, man. Absolutely lovely.
Yeah, there's my Kelly. She was a bit dirty because I was playing
Finger marks everywhere.
Yeah, finger mark, and a broken string because I was smashing the shit out of it. Yeah, my baby. There you go.
So what did you do?
It's awesome. But yeah, I was absolutely thrilled when that came into my life. So yeah, I played the Jackson Kelly, and
what do you tune it to?
Sorry?
What do you tune it to?
We're in drop G on a 6-string.
Cool.
So it's pretty low for a 6. The whole guitar's in standard A, and then we just drop the bottom one to G. So
no 7 strings then?
Oh no.
Oh no, I was a definite no.
No. 6-string and tune it down like men. That's what we do.
So what pedals do you use then?
It's all in the Kemper. Everything's in the Kemper. So me and Noel both use the same model of Kempers, and because we've got the EVH endorsement as well. So we just profiled our EVH amps into our Kempers, and it's exactly the same sound. So the change of tone is no different.
Yeah,
it's just 10 times easier carrying a tiny Kemper that weighs as much as a bag of sugar into a venue than dragging around 3 EVH amps that weigh a ton. So
oh yeah, our backs are all knackered.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jackson Kelly through the Kemper for a Marshall cab. That's it, pretty much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. What about you, Eddie? Like
any old shouting stick, mate.
Yeah, like
SM58.
Have you went through a range of microphones until you've came across the one that you like, or you just give me a microphone and I'll sing into it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it doesn't really make me. My sound comes from volume mostly. I'm like an old Marshall amp. The distortion comes from the volume.
Yeah.
So as long as the mic is sort of like picking up stuff,
it was functional.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. I can pretty much do the same thing with any mic. It doesn't have to be the poshest mic ever.
Gonna break it regardless.
Yeah. I'm literally gonna scream it into dust.
Well, listen, guys. I'm intrigued to hear what the new songs sound. But I can't wait to see you guys headlining on Saturday night as well. The place is sold out, so it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal gig, phenomenal night, phenomenal weekend. That wasn't easy to say 3 times in a row, by the way.
I can't say that.
Don't ask
Well,
me
to be
to say
fair,
a
we're
fourth.
supposed to be looking all mean on stage and stuff like that, but I think there'll be loads of grins.
Yeah, it was
To be fair,
Yeah. So, like I say, when you're ready to, when do you think you'll be ready to release new things? Will it be the middle of next year, do you think?
we put it out, didn't we? It's the 7th of 22.
Yeah.
So 7th of July next year, there will be an album out.
I knew that. I did see your post.
No,
Yeah, no, cool. Well, you know exactly where to send it to. You know that we're going to be at Badgerfest, so make sure that you look us up. And I'm sure we can have a pint together.
I'll definitely have a pint with you, mate. Yeah, definitely.
Sounds like a plan, guys. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Right, mate.
Thanks.